Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to set up a dropshipping webshop where we use Shopify and we're also going to use Blazor, and we will start from scratch. So if I just open the other tab here, you can see I actually created an email just to this video so that we have a dropshipping email that we can use to go and create the Shopify account. So the idea is to set up Shopify so that we have some dropshipping items that we can sell, and when the products is set up, we're going to integrate them into a Blazor Server App so that it's actually our Blazor Server App that is the webshop. So first of all, let's go and create a new free trial. So Shopify asks us which of these best describers, and in my case I'll just say that I'm just getting started. I am not already selling things online or in person, so let's say next. And this is actually an important step because we're not going to make an online store, so go and tap that off. We are going to select this where we're going to say that we want to sell on an existing website or blog, and this do so that we can go and create a buy button on our Blazor Server App. But it's actually not just a buy button, we're going to include a whole collection, and with the JavaScript that Shopify provides to us, it actually also integrate a cart on our website. So we will actually go and have all the steps for a customer to create a full purchase. So we're going to say next. And in this case, we say that we want to use dropshipping products. So we say next again. And what do we want to call the store? I just want to call it my store. And then we're going to say next. And in this case, just go and take the location where you are running the application from. So in my case, it's actually in Denmark because I live in Denmark. So I'll just go and say next. Then we will go and create a Shopify ID. So let's go and continue with email. And that's here where I created this dropshipping setbit email. So now I just entered my email and a password. So let's go and create the Shopify ID. So now it will build the store and just prepare everything for us. So now that everything is set up, we have this message down here where it says that our trial will expire in what is around 3 days. So let's just go and close that. And I actually don't know if we have to select a plan before we can make it work 100%, but I think we will just go and set things up. And then at the end, if it doesn't work with the payment, then I'll just go and select the plan and pay $1 per month the next 3 months. Of course, you can always go and end this so that if you don't want Shopify anymore, you can just go and say that they should just close your subscription. But as you can see, we now have a setup guide, and we actually don't have to go and choose a theme, I think, because we're not going to use the theme at all. We're not going to use a webshop from Shopify. The only thing we are interested in is this buy button over here. But before we can use that, we need to have some products inside our store. So if we go to products, we can see now that it is empty because we have no products right now. And that's actually what we're going to fetch from a dropshipping company. So up in the search bar, we can go and just type dropshipping, and then go and click on this search for dropshipping in Shopify App Store. So the one I want to use is this Spucket, or whatever it's called. I actually don't know how you pronounce it, but you can see it's dropshipping in the USA and also in Europe. You can always go and play around with all the others. It really doesn't matter, because all what these dropshippings will do is that we can choose some products that we then export to our Shopify store. So let's go and click on this bucket and say that we want to add this app, and now we can go and install it. So now we come to the Bucket app, and we can just go and close this window and also minimize this. So from inside here, we can choose a category of what we want to sell. And in my case, let's go and say that we want to sell some tech accessories. And then from in here, let's go and say that we want to add some mouse pads maybe to our dropshipping webshop. And let's go and say that they should ship from, let's say, USA. So in our case, we will just go and target the USA. And that's also a thing that we can go and limit inside our Shopify app, that we actually only want to target USA. So now when that's done, we can scroll down and we can see all the different items that we can sell. As you can see, some of them are premium, so you need to have a more expensive plan. If you see up here, we can see try for free. And what that basically means is that if you choose one of these plans, then you will get 2 weeks for free, where you can cancel anytime. So you can really go and try this out for free. And in my case, I just want to take the starter plan. So we're going to try it for free. And then over here, we want to agree and say claim free trial. So everything I want to do now is just to add a credit card. And when I have done that, I want to say approve, and then we will see what's happened. So I'll just go and type it in so you don't have to see this, and then we will continue afterwards. So after entering my credit card and say approve, then it says congratulations, you are now on the starter pack. So let's go and close this window. And what do you want to achieve? Let's just say selling items. And then again, you have to say what made you upgrade, so you just have to choose one of these. Let's just go and say that we like that there is more product to push. So let's say that we want to start our bucket. So now if we go to the tech accessories again and we say mousepad, and we're going to say that we want to ship to the US, then let's scroll down and let's find some items that we want to sell. So I do like this one. And let's go and say that we want to add to import list. So now you can see we added to this import list, and what that means is that we have a list in here with all the products that we want to push to our store. So you can see we can go and push just this item, or when we have a full list we can go and push all the items, all the products to our Shopify store. So let's just go back and let's go and find some more items. So now I just searched for mouse pads instead. I actually think that there was more to choose from. We already have this one, so let's go and say add to import list. And if we scroll a bit down, we also have this one, a very expensive one, also very expensive to ship actually, but let's just go and choose that. And let's just take a final product. So let's go, we already have this one, and let's go and take this one also. So now we do have 4 items in our list, and we can just go and say that we want to push them all now, and just say yes, push all. So after that, it says that our import list is empty now because they are moved to the products category, and these are now the products that we have on our page. So let's go back to Shopify and go and update the view, because then inside the products we do now have the 4 products that we choose. And you also don't have to worry about inventory, because as if we click on it, then when we scroll down to the inventory here, we can see that inventory will be stocked at and then bucket, and then we can go down here and see the location of where we have these items available, and that is actually just the app bucket, so they will always refresh how many of the items that is available. As you can see, if I click it, you can see quantity is managed by Bucket. I do actually see an error here because I choose that I come from Denmark, then it takes the Danish crown. So what we have to do, if you choose another country, then we will go to settings, and then you can see down here we have inside the store details, we have this store currency, and if we scroll to the top we have the US dollar. So just choose that and go to the top and say save. So if we go back to the products and we scroll a bit down, we can now see that it actually changed to dollars, but it hasn't calculated the correct amount. So it's actually just my fault here, that I'll actually just go and delete all these and then import them again, because then they will get the right dollar. So we can select them all, click on these 3 dots and say delete products, and say delete. So when they are deleted, we can go back to Bucket, and I can see our product list is also empty. So I'll just go and find the mouse pads again, and I actually have a problem here because it says that it's already imported, and I cannot remove it from the import list because it said it's not found because we deleted it. So just for the purpose of this video, I just want to go and take some other mouse pads instead. So let's go and say add to import list. Okay, so that actually fixed it. You could see that this is not imported anymore, so we can go and import this also. So that was actually the fix for that. But let's just go and take a few mouse pads again. And now that we have imported 5 mouse pads, let's go and just push it all again. So it actually took a little bit of time to push these 5 products, but eventually they are now pushed to our Shopify shop. So we can again go to the products tab inside Shopify, and we have the products again. So let's just try to click one of them and let's go and see the price, and it looks much better now. So the next thing we have to do is to go to the collections, because we want to add all the mousepad to a collection. So let's go and create a collection, and let's just call it for mousepads, and we want to say that the product is added to this collection automated. So if the product tag is, let's go and say mousepad, then they will automatically be in this collection. And an important thing is that the sales channels that we have the buy button checked on, because if we don't have it, then you cannot create a button or a collection of items using this buy button function. So now that we created the collection, let's go and save it. And then we can go to the products tab. Then if we click the first product, then we can go and scroll down a bit, and down here at the tags, we can go and just add the mousepad, and you can actually see it already have the tag. So it already have the mousepad tag that we need in the collection. So I actually think that all the products might be in the collection already. Let's go and check it. And we can see in here that we have 3 products right now. So it was actually not all of them that is included with this mousepad tag. But let's just go to the products then and go and include the last 2. So we do need this one and this one. So let's go inside. And again, let's go down to the tags. And we can also see, I think these tags, they come from the dropshipping when they imported. So in our case, we just want to add the mousepad also and go and say save. And I'll just do it with the other also. So go down again, say mousepad, and choose the mousepad tag. So another very important thing that we have to do with each product, and I don't really know if there is an option to do this in a bulk way, or to make the change on everything, because if we click here and we say bulk edit, then we come to this page where you can go and change a lot of things, but I don't think you can change the thing that we need. So we have to go back and go inside a product, and then over here at the publishing, we can go and hit the manage button and say manage sales channels. And that's because as default, when we import the products to Shopify, then we cannot actually go and use the buy button function on the product. So we need to go and tap this on every product that we have. You could also go and tap this off, but it really doesn't matter. So let's go and say done. And now I'll actually just go, we have to of course go and save this, but now I will just go and do it on all the other also, so you don't have to sit and watch me do it on every items. So now when that's done, we can go and say buy button, and it's going to say create a new buy button, and the one we want to choose is this collection of buy button, and that's the reason we also created this mousepads collection. So we can just choose it now and say select, and now you can see we actually get this nice page that Shopify created for us, where we can go and say that we want to add the items to the cart. And then you can see over here we actually have the cart, and we can go to checkout, and right now it says that something went wrong, but we will go and make it work 100% in this video, so that Americans would actually be able to go into our store and buy some things. So let's close it, and you can also see if we remove the items, they will just remove. We can close the cart, and the cart is gone over here. But if we add an item to the cart and we just close it with the items inside, then you can see we actually have this cart over here. So it really adds all the functionality that we need in a web shop. The only downside with this is that we cannot click an item to see more about it. Then if you have to include it in Blazor also, you really need to have like a separate page for every item, and that's not anything we're going to cover in this video. But with this, you already have a full functional web shop. So you can go over here and you can go and play around with it. So action when people click, I actually didn't see that we have an open product details. So let's try to click it, view product. So this is actually new for me. It's very nice that we can do this. So we should be able to just go and add it to the cart. So that was actually pretty nice that we can go and say view product. This don't have so many details, but if you have another one, then you can actually go and you can just go and click on the other images also. So that's very nice. So let's just go and stick to this. We can also go and style the button if you want to. We can go and make it red. We can also go and make it black. Let's just keep it black for now. We can also go around the corners on the buttons. Then we also have some layout adjustments that we can create. So as you can see, aligning could be done to the left instead. So that was actually just the title, the price, and the button. We can also go and hide the button. That's actually also pretty nice, because then we don't have the button. We can just click on the objects. So yeah, you can really go and play around with this to make it fit your needs. But right now let's go back, and I actually think it's okay, everything. So what I want to do now is just to say next. And then we actually get some JavaScript that we can go and include in our project. So right now I'll just leave it on this page so we always have the code. And what we should do now is to go and create our Blazor Server App. So let's open Visual Studio and go and say create new project. Then let's click on Blazor Server App and say next. We could call this dropshipping app just like this, and then say next. And in here, it really doesn't matter what we choose. We can just choose .NET 7. Let's go and create this project. So now that the project is created, we can go and include the JavaScript. But what we need to do when we have JavaScript in Blazor is to use the JS interrupt. So I think that under the pages, let's try to open the host file, because it's actually in here that we can go and include the JavaScript. So if we scroll down to the bottom, or actually, let's just go and include it down here under the script that is already created. And I do actually think that to keep it more clean, let's just go and create a file for itself. So actually under the roots folder here, let's go and create a new folder. So let's say add new folder and call it JS. And then we want to right click, say add and say new item. And then I actually want to call it mouse pads. And it's not a CS file. It is going to be a JS file. So let's say add this file, and then we will go back to the code that we have. So let's go and copy this code and put it inside our mousepad.js file. But in this case, we need to just go and remove the script tag, so also from the top here. And we also don't want to have this div inside. So now we have all the JavaScript that Shopify provides to us. But what I want to do is to actually go and wrap this in a function. So we could just call it edit mousepads maybe, and then say that this is a function. The last curly brackets, let's go and put it at the bottom of this file. Just like this. So everything inside now is just inside our function. So now that the mousepads.js is set up, let's go back to the hosts file and let's just go and hit Ctrl D on this line so that we just copy the script. Then we will remove the source and say that this should be JS and then the mousepad.js file. So now we actually include the JavaScript to our project. So what I think we can do is we can go to this pages folder and say add, and then we're going to add a new razor component, and I'll just call it for mousepads and then say add. So the first thing I'll do is to say that this should be a page, and we could just go and call it mousepads. And we also need this / in front of it. We will then, before the code here, just go and inject the JS runtime interface and then go and add the uninitialized async method. So this is the method that is going to be run when we load the page for the first time. And it's really here that we want to trigger the JS to display the mousepads. But first of all, as you can see, we don't have any HTML tags that will actually go and display the mouse tags. But if we go back to the code here, we had this div at the top of the code that was generated. So let's go and copy this and put it inside here so that the JavaScript know where the collection should be put in. So the next thing is to invoke the JS, and the way we do that is by taking the JS object that we created from the JS runtime and then say that we want to invoke async. And I actually don't think this is doing anything except that it has to have a type that we put in also, because we don't really have any parameters we send to this init mousepad. But by saying this, we're going to execute this init mousepad, which eventually will run all the code that we have inside this mousepads.js file so that everything is going to be set up as Shopify wants it. So I can see we have a curly brackets down here that we shouldn't have. So just remove that. Let's try to save this and let's try to run it to see how this is turning out. So the application is working as we want it to, but let's try to go to the URL and say mousepads. Okay, so we get an error. Actually, the JavaScript interrupt calls cannot be issued at this time. So it actually tells us that the call should be performed doing the on after rendering async. So I do believe we can just take this name and then go and put it inside here instead. And then I actually found out you also have to have a parameter in here called first render, or actually it doesn't matter what you call it, but it is a bool that will tell you if it is the first rendering of this on after render async. And we actually, inside the first render, we do want to go and invoke our JS. And when we have done that, we also want to say that the state has changed. So that's basically to tell Blazor that we have to update the UI because something has happened. I actually stopped this video before because I was just sitting and play around with it. And I did hit a very weird error, which was that this ID was actually different to the ID that our JSON script would target. So inside our mousepads.js, you can see here it will get the element by ID and then target this ID. And somehow I messed it up. I had the number of 13 at last instead of 14. I don't know why. But you just have to make sure that this ID is going to be the same ID as you have inside your div, so that it knows where to display the product. So the last thing we need is inside our host file. If you haven't done it already, go and include the mousepad.js file that we created, and then we should be good to go. So I'll just check that everything is okay here. And I think it looks fine. So let's try to run the application, and then let's go again and say mousepads. And now you can see we actually have the products from Shopify. So we can also click them and they look very nice. So you also have the card over here where you can then go and say checkout. And of course this is not working. We will get it to work very soon. But I think we just can go and add a mousepads button over in the menu. It should be done very quickly. So let's just go and close the application and go to the nav menu. And actually instead of having this fetch data, let's go and delete it. And then let's go and say on this nav link, instead of link to the counter, go and link to the mousepads, and then say that we also want to name the button for mousepads. So let's save this and hit the run button, and now we have the mousepads over here, so we can just click it and now we have the shop. So I think the last thing we could do is to go and make the payment work. So let's close the application, and I want to go back to Shopify. So here back at the Shopify front page, we can go and set up the Shopify payment. So click on that one and say set up Shopify payments. It is very simple to get payments to work with Shopify. You just have to go and say activate Shopify payments. Then you need to add your address, and I'll just go and type it all in and say next. So for safety reasons, I just deleted all my information again here at the next page. But what you can basically do is just to say that you are an individual. You don't have to have a company number that you're going to put in here. As you can see, it is optional. You can go and put in your business address, maybe just your own address. Put in some naming details, your birthday, your personal identification number. In Denmark, it's called the CPR number. It might be a little bit different from where you live. And you can just shortly go and say what kind of things do you sell. Then you will go and put in your phone number. And this is actually the store name that will be displayed at the customer's bank statement. So I think that SP is maybe just Shopify. And then you can just go and remove that and just have your own business name. You also need an IBAN number so that you can get some payments from Shopify when you earn some money. And right now I will just go and fill everything out here and then say next, or it's actually complete account setup. So I'll just do that now. So after I set that up, we can go and set up the two-step authentication, and then it asks us to log in again. So in my case, I had my own email for this project, and I'll just say continue with this email and then type in my password and say login. So in this case, you can go and create a security key. It is this one, or the built-in authentication like the fingerprint, or you can go from your app and say that you want to, or using an authentication app to log in. So I'll actually choose that one. I will take my phone and then I will go and open my authenticator. So in my case, I use Google Authenticator, and then I will just go and scan this code. So right now I have the 6-digit code. So I'll just go and type it in and say that we want to enable the two authentication. We can then go and download the keys to recover our Shopify account and then say that we want to continue. So that's actually it to set up the Shopify payments. It's very easy. Now you can take Visa and MasterCard and Apple Pay and Google Pay and everything on your online shop. So what you can do now is to go to the store details and I don't want to show you them, but there is a yellow bar in here where it says that you have to verify your email. So we do also have to go and verify our email. It just says send verification email, and then if we go to our email, we then receive a verify your email address. As you can see, we actually get a lot of emails when we create all this, but right now we're just interested in go and verify our email. So now the email is also verified. So one last thing I think that we need to do, because right now it's still not working, our payment, but that is also because we don't have a plan on Shopify. Right now we're just running on a trial, and I actually don't think we can run payments with just the trial. So we have to select a plan and then say that we want to choose the basic. So in this case, you can go with $1 for 3 months. So I'll just go with that. And after that, it will be $39 per month. So again, I just want to go and confirm my billing cycle. You can see I already have my Visa set up here. And then I want to say confirm billing cycle. Then we want to scroll down at the bottom and we want to say subscribe. So I do believe that we are set up now. So let's try to go to the front page again. And as you can see, we do have a plan now. So it doesn't tell us that we need a plan. So if we go back to our Blazor Server App again and we try to run this, then if we go into our mouse pads, we should be able to click the card. And I have 2 things in the cart right now, so I'll just check out with these. And now you can see we're actually able to go and pay for this. We can just expand the window, and then you have this very nice window where you can actually go and pay for the products. So again, it's only for the United States. If you want to sell to the whole world, you need to find a dropshipping company where you think that they have a good solution to do that. But if you're brand new to dropshipping, then I would just recommend that you just go with one country at a time. The United States should be a fine place, of course, depending on what you're going to sell. So that's actually it for this video. So with both Shopify and Blazor, it's actually pretty easy to go and make your own dropshipping website. If you have a already existing blog or a already existing website where you want to include a shop into, then this would go and be a perfect solution for that. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and else just have a nice day. Bye.